Hi everyone, and welcome to a life-restoring episode of
The Dungeon Crashers.
I'm Guy.
And I'm Sapil. To get started, let's hit that like and subscribe button, and get that bell on if you want to be notified when we post our great D&D content. This week we'll be making a build for the Deaderer. They wanted a dedicated healer that can do much more than just healing. We threw a lot of ideas around with different concepts that would make a great healer, but we think this build can meet the Deaderer's expectations and not be too one-sided. There will be a ton of spells for this build, and we'll be saying why we want it and in a short description of the spell. If you take the same spells, look them up so you know exactly what they do. For race, we needed something that would give us a boost of wisdom and charisma. Protector Aasimar gives us just that, a +1 to wisdom and a +2 to charisma. It gets Darkvision, you can see in dim light within 60 feet as if you were in bright light, and in darkness you can see as if you were in dim light. You can't discern colors in darkness, only shades of gray. They get Celestial Resistance. You have resistance to necrotic damage and radiant damage. They get Healing Hands. As an action, you can touch a creature and cause it to regain a number of hit points equal to your level. Once you do this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. They get Light Bearer. You know the Light Cantrip as a free spell, and languages you can speak, read, and write Common and Celestial. The last ability the Protector Aasimar gets is Radiant Soul. Starting at 3rd level, you can use your action to unleash a divine energy within yourself, causing your eyes to glimmer and 2 luminous incorporeal wings to sprout from your back. Your transformation lasts for 1 minute or until you edit as a bonus action. During it, you can have a fly speed of 30 feet, and once on each of your turns, you can deal an extra radiant damage to one target when you deal damage to it with an attack or a spell. The extra radiant damage equals your level. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. This build requires high ability scores in several abilities. We go by the point supply system for our videos to keep it consistent and so you can build them at home. Our home group sometimes uses the 4d6 and taking the highest 3 dice and no negative ability scores method. Using that method, this character would be really great, especially if you can bump up your strength. Using the point buy system, we had to put 8 in strength. You will be a spellcaster, not a fighter. 10 on dexterity since we want heavy armor. 14 on constitution since everyone needs hit points. 10 on intelligence. It's not a main casting stat, but we didn't want it to be a negative. 15 on wisdom, making it 16 from the racial bonus. This will be one of our main casting stats for cleric. And 14 for charisma, making it 16 with the racial bonus. This will be another casting stat for our sorcerer levels.
For background, we went with Far Traveler. It gives us 2 skills, Insight and Perception. A tool proficiency, either a musical instrument or gaming set. We'll have a high charisma, so an instrument can make us some money or lead to a roleplay situation. This background gives us 3 features. Why are you here, where you're from, and all eyes on you. These features are too long to list in this video, so we recommend you look them up. They won't be a key factor in this build, but they can help in roleplay situations depending on your campaign. Now, starting equipment is the heaviest armor you can afford, a shield and a traveler's pack. You might be wondering why no weapon? Well, that's because you won't need one. Your main hand will have your spell casting focus, and your offhand will have a shield. The character will be a wall for the squishier allies and be healing the frontline fighters while dishing out some good damaging spells. And the first level is start building that wall by taking Cleric. You can choose 2 skills from History, Insight, Medicine, Persuasion, and Religion. We took Persuasion and Religion. Clerics get their Divine Domain at 1st level, and we went with Life Domain. We become proficient with heavy armor, so get full plate as fast as you can. The only problem with wearing heavy armor is our 8 strength. Since we don't meet the required 15 strength to wear full plate, we get a 10-foot movement penalty. But that's okay, we won't need to be fast to cast our spells. Let's just hope we roll ability scores and can put something better than 8 on strength. For spells, we get 3 cantrips known and 2 first level spell slots. Clerics are prepared casters can prepare a number of spells per day equal to the wisdom modifier plus cleric level. So 4 to start. From the life domain we get 2 domain spells, Bless and Cure Wounds. They are always prepared and they don't count against the number of spells you can prepare a day. For cantrips, take Guidance to help out your allies, Sacred Flame for a good ranged attack spell that does radiant damage and does more damage as you level up, and lastly Toll the Dead if you want to do the necrotic damage, and it's a wisdom save, so that's helpful too. The 4 first level prepared spells take Guiding Bolt, doing 4d6 radiant damage and giving the next attack on the creature advantage. Healing Word for a bonus action heal. Inflict Wounds, doing 3d10 necrotic damage on a melee spell attack. And Shield of Faith. As a bonus action, you cast this to give a creature within 60 feet of you +2 to armor class, and its concentration up to 10 minutes. The last ability we get at first level is from the Life Domain, Disciple of Life. Whenever you use a spell of first level higher to restore hit points to a creature, the creature gains additional hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's level. This will make your healing much more effective. And we're going into Sorcerer next, so a quick note about multi-classing casters. For a more detailed explanation, check out our Angel of Justice video. We'll put the link in the corner. Simply, the spells you learn as a sorcerer will use your charisma for the casting stat, and the spells you prepare as a cleric will use your wisdom. You use the same spell slots for all your spells, and since both your classes are full casters, you'll have the same amount as if you were a single class caster.
Just as Guy said, for second level we'll be switching gears and taking Sorcerer. At first level Sorcerer, they get their Sorcerous origin. Take Divine Soul to maximize healing as much as possible. At first level, they get Divine Magic. When your spellcasting feature lets you learn a Sorcerer Cantrip or a Sorcerer spell of first level or higher, you can choose a new spell from the Cleric spell list or the Sorcerer spell list. You must otherwise obey all restrictions for selecting the spell, and it becomes a Sorcerer spell for you. Also, you get to choose an affinity for the source of your divine power, and you learn a spell based on that affinity. We are taking the Chaos affinity to get Bane. This is a great spell to cast on up to 3 enemies. The second ability the Divine Soul gets is favored by the gods. If you fail a saving throw or miss an attack roll, you can roll 2d4 and add it to the total, possibly changing the outcome. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. For Sorcerer spells, we wanted to focus on attack spells of different types. We get 4 cantrips known, 2 spells known, and 1 first level and 1 first level spell slot. The cantrips will be Firebolt for a fire type, and it does more damage as you level up. Ray of Frost for a cold type, and it does more damage as you level up as well, and slows the target. Shocking Grasp that does lightning damage and more damage as you level up. And last, Mind Sliver for psychic damage, and it also does more damage as you level up. For the 2 first level spells known, we will be taking 2 reaction spells since we don't have a use for our reaction yet. Silvery Barbs to make the enemy reroll 1 attack, ability check, or saving throw, and give yourself or an ally advantage on the next attack, ability check, or saving throw. And take Shield for some protection of your own. At 3rd level, we same with Sorcerer for Sorcerer level 2. You get Font of Magic, which gives you your sorcery points. You start off with 2 and gain 1 per level of Sorcerer, and you regain all spent points at the end of a long rest. They get Flexible Casting. It gives you 2 ways you can use sorcery points until you get your meta magic. First, you can turn sorcery points into spell slots as a bonus action. There's a table in the player's handbook that shows how many sorcerer points you need to create a spell slot per level, so have that page bookmarked or write it down on your character sheet if you intend to use it a lot. Second is the reverse, changing spell slots into sorcery points. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 spell slot and gain a number of sorcery points equal to the slot's level. For spells, you get 1 first level spell known, a first level spell slot, and 2 second level spell slots. Take Magic Missile to do force damage and hit multiple targets. It can also be upcasted since we have second level spell slots and no second level spells.
Now 4th level will be 3rd level Sorcerer. We get Meta Magic. We can choose from 2 from the Meta Magic list. First, take Distance Spell for 1 sorcery point. Gives your touch spells a range of 30 feet and doubles the range of any spell that has 5 feet or more range. Second, take Twin Spell for 1 sorcery point per level of the spell, 1 for cantrips. You hit a second target when you cast a single target spell that doesn't have the range itself. Now you can heal at range or heal 2 targets at once. Sadly, you can't use both at the same time, unfortunately. This would also work with Inflict Wounds to have a very good range damage attack.
Definitely.
The spells we get are 1 spell known of 2nd level or lower, and 1 second level spell slot. I like Wither and Bloom. It's a pretty good area effect damage spell, and it can also heal an ally while doing damage to the enemy. 5th level will be 4th level Sorcerer. We get an ability boost, we'll put on our Wisdom, making 18 to increase our healing. The spells we get are 1 cantrip known, 1 spell known of 2nd level or lower, and 2 3rd level spell slots. Take Message Cantrip for long-range communication, and for the spell known, take Mind Spike for 3d8 psychic damage that can be upcasted with those 3rd level spell slots. Since we boost our Wisdom, we will also be able to prepare 1 more Cleric spell, which is still 1st level. 6th level we take Cleric level 2. We get the use of Channel Divinity once per day and it restores on a short or long rest. We can use the Channel Divinity to turn undead, or from the Life Domain, we can use Channel Divinity Preserve Life as an action. You present your holy symbol and evoke healing energy that can restore a number of hit points equal to 5 times your Cleric level. Choose any creatures within 30 feet of you and divide those hit points among them. This feature can restore a creature to no more than half of its hit point maximum. You can't use this feature on an undead or a construct. For spells, we get 1 prepared 1st level spell and a 3rd level spell slot. Take Detect Magic. Since we already have 3rd level spell slots, you can use them to upcast Cure Wounds if you need to.
At 7th level, we'll get 3rd level of Cleric. We are just getting spells of this level, and from the Life Domain, we get Lesser Restoration and Spiritual Weapon. They are added to your prepared spells, but they don't count against the spells you can't prepare in a day. We can prepare a spell of 2nd level or lower, and we get 1 4th level spell slot here. Take Hold Person for your prepared spell. It can take an annoying target out of the fight for the time being, or 2 targets if you use it with Twin Spell. At 8th level, we'll be taking 4th level of Cleric. You get an ability boost here, and we need our Charisma to make it 18 to help with our Sorcerer spell attack and save DCs. You could max out your Wisdom if you wanted to maximize your healing, but I like to keep it even so I'm good at both healing and doing damage. For spells, we get 1 Cantrip known, another prepared spell of 2nd level or lower, and 1 4th level spell slot. For the Cantrip, take Word of Radiance. If you find yourself surrounded by the enemy, it's a good AoE to have. For the prepared spell, take Prayer of Healing for an out-of-combat healing spell. It takes 10 minutes to cast and should never be used in combat. Or take Warding Bond. Warding Bond is a double-edged sword. You bond with a willing creature that lasts for 1 hour. During that time, as long as the creature is within 60 feet of you, they gain a +1 to armor class and all saving throws. And it has resistance to all types of damage. However, if the creature you have the bond with takes damage, you take the same amount of damage. At 9th level, we'll be taking 5th level of Cleric. When we use our Channel Divinity to turn undead, if they fail their save and are CR half or lower, they are destroyed. We get 2 spells from the Life Domain, Beacon of Hope and Revivify. They are always prepared for you and they don't count against the number of spells you can prepare a day. For spells, we get 1 spell of 3rd level or lower that we can prepare, 1 4th level spell slot, and 1 5th level spell slot. Take Mass Healing Word for a bonus action multiple target healing spell, which can be upcast for even more healing. At 10th level, we'll be taking 6th level of Cleric. We can use our Channel Divinity 2 times a day now, and from the Life Domain, we get Blessed Healer. When we cast a spell of 1st level or higher that restores hit points to a creature other than yourself, you regain hit points equal to 2 plus the spell's level. For spells at this level, we get 1 spell of 3rd level or lower we can prepare a day, 1 5th level spell slot. Take Dispel Magic for those nasty magical traps, or use on an enemy spellcaster that has a defensive buff.
At 11th level, there will be 7th level Cleric. We get 2 spells from the Life Domain, Death Ward and Guardian of Faith, that are always prepared for us and don't count against the number of spells we can prepare a day. For spells, we get 1 spell of 4th level or lower that we can prepare a day, and 1 6th level spell slot. Take Divination, it's always great to have. And 12th level is 8th level Cleric. We get an ability boost and we'll use it to cap our Wisdom at 20. We can now destroy undead of CR1 or lower when they fail their save against our turn undead. From the Life Domain, we get Divine Strike. Once on each of our turns, when we hit a creature with a weapon attack, we can pause the attack to deal 1d8 radiant damage to target. When you reach 14th level, the extra damage increases 2d8. Sadly, we won't get up to 14th level in Cleric. Now, an optional feature, Blessed Strike. When a creature takes damage from one of your cantrips or weapon attacks, you can also deal 1d8 radiant damage to that creature. Once you deal this damage, you can't use this feature again until the start of your next turn. If you take Blessed Strike, it'll replace Divine Strike, but we think Blessed Strike is better since it can be used on our cantrips as well. For spells, all we get is 2 spells of 4th level or lower we can prepare a day. Take Spirit Guardians. It affects 15 feet around you and can damage any target that enters or starts its turn. This is great for crowd control, and honestly, I take it on every Cleric I play.
Yeah.
13th level is 5th level Sorcerer. There's an optional feature, Magical Guidance. When you make an ability check that fails, you can spend 1 sorcery point to re-roll the d20, and you must use the new roll, potentially turning the failure into a success. For spells, we get 1 spell known of 3rd level or lower, 1 7th level spell slot, Finally, we can get Fireball for a great ranged area effect, and it can be upcasted to do massive amounts of damage. And 14th level, 6th level Sorcerer, we get an ability from Divine Soul, Empowered Healing. Whenever you or an ally within 5 feet of you rolls dice to determine the number of hit points a spell restores, you can spend 1 sorcery point to reroll any number of those dice once, provided you aren't incapacitated. You can use this feature only once per turn. For spells, we get another spell known of 3rd level or lower, so take Counterspell for another great use of our reaction.
And 15th level will be 7th level of Sorcerer. All we get here is a spell known of 4th level or lower and 1 8th level spell slot. Take Dimension Door for a teleport spell, but a case could be made for Raulothim's Psychic Lance, since it does 76 psychic damage, and the target is incapacitated until the start of your next turn on a failed save. It can be upcasted as well, so take your pick of these two. At 16th level will be 8th level of Sorcerer. We get an ability score boost, and we use it to cap our charisma at 20. This will make our spell attacks and save DCs with our Sorcerer spells the best they can be. For spells here, we get 1 spell known of 4th level or lower. Take the one that we mentioned in the previous level that you didn't take now. To finish off this build, we'll be going back to Cleric. At 17th level, we'll be taking 9th level of Cleric. From the Life Domain, we get 2 spells added to our prepared spells that don't count against our number of spells we can't prepare a day. Mass, Cure Wounds, and Raise Dead. These are going to be your best spells. For spells we can't prepare, we can prepare a spell of 5th level or lower, and we get 1 9th level spell slot. Take Greater Restoration for those nasty curses that could be on one of your party members, or to remove a negative ability effects. At 18th level, we'll be taking 10th level of Cleric. We get a Divine Intervention. Imploring your deity's aid requires you to use your action, describe the assistance you seek, and roll a percentile dice. If you roll a number equal to or lower of your Cleric level, your deity intervenes. The DM chooses the nature of the intervention. The effect of any Cleric spell or Cleric domain spell would be appropriate. If your deity intervenes, you can't use this feature again for 7 days. Otherwise, you can use it again after you finish a long rest. Basically, it has a 10% chance of succeeding, but you can try it once a day until you get it. For spells, we get 1 cantrip and 1 spell we can't prepare a day of 5th level or lower, and 1 5th level spell slot. For the cantrip, take Spare the Dying if you want to heal the enemy to wake them up for interrogating purposes. For the prepared spell, take Scrying. You will want to look this spell up in the requirements because it can come in handy for many situations.
19th level will be 11th level Cleric. You can destroy undead of CR2 or lower that fail their save when you use your Channel Divinity to turn undead. For spells, we get 1 prepared spell of 6th level or lower and 1 6th level spell slot. Take Heal. The target regains 70 hit points, and it can be upcasted. It can also be twin casted with Meta Magic.
Yep.
Finally, at 20th level, we will take our 12th and last Cleric level. We get an ability boost, and since we need hit points and better con for concentration checks, let's put in our Constitution, making it 16. For our last spells, we can prepare a spell of 6 or lower, and we get 1 7th level spell slot. Take Hero's Feast to get all sorts of benefits, from curing disease to adding to maximum hit points, and it lasts for 24 hours. And with that, we bring this build to a close. We hope it lived up to your expectations, the Deaderer. It was a tough yet fun build to make, and it makes for one great healer. What I like best about this build is the roleplay aspect. It's pretty common for clerics to have low charisma scores, which always bugs me even when I do it, because a religious leader should be charismatic, and this character definitely is. You can be using persuasion to help evil people see the light or convert commoners to the faith. I also like that as a sorcerer, you are descended from a divine being, and you're honoring your ancestry by devoting yourself to a god of life.
Yep.
Now, we have been adding a list of useful magic items to our build, but this one's running a little long, but something that will boost that strength up, like a belt or gauntlets, would be ideal, as would anything that boosts armor class.
Yeah. As I said at the beginning of this build, but I'll say it again now, we used a very brief description of the spells and why we're taking them, so we recommend you look them up for the full description of each spell. If you have any questions, comments, or build ideas, please leave them in the comment section below. Next week, we will be doing a build for Liam Griffin for a Scribe Wizard multi-class, so look forward to that. And until next time, cheers!